Hi guys, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and today I'm going to go over a couple of things with the Cricut Explore Air. However, this video would apply to any Cricut machine that uses Design Space. I have logged into my Design Space account online. If you know how to do that and have a new account, then you can just log right on in and follow along if you'd like. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to link a cartridge if you've never done that. If you've purchased a cartridge that was not linked and you're adding it to your account, this will be the way to go about it. When you turn on Cricut Design Space, you land on this home page. In my case, because I have created projects, they are listed here, and that's why it says my projects. If you haven't made any, then you wouldn't see a menu as this one. But on this page, if you go to the upper left hand side, you're going to see these three little bars. Well, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it should say your name. In my case, of course, it says Raquel because that's my name. What you do is you have a menu here that you can go through, and this is something to get acquainted with if you're brand new to Cricut and you've never used your machine. You want to start here, and I'm going to skip over machine setup. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but here you also have the option to link a cartridge. Now, it just so happens I was at Tuesday morning, and for some reason they had a couple of cartridges. One of them I didn't own, so I decided to go ahead and take advantage of the price and grab the cartridge. So I'm opening it right now. But if you see that, I clicked on that and it immediately says link cartridges, and then initially it will ask you which machine. I'm currently only using one Cricut machine, so it automatically popped up because it's already linked to my account and everything. You're going to be able to insert your cartridge, and what I'll do is I'll set up the camera so that you can see where to insert the cartridge, and you'll see that next. Okay, so I'm back, and I just wanted to show you a little something here. This is the cartridge that I'm going to be linking. It's new to me, even though the cartridge is not new. Of course, you know, Cricut has done away with these, but this is how it came, and I just wanted to show you. There's a little sticker that comes off the bottom here. If you purchase a cartridge off of eBay and it doesn't have the sticker on there, then that cartridge has been used, just to let you know, okay? Because once you take this off, that's how you can open the box. So if you're new to Cricut and you want to get some deals on the internet, just be careful and ask the vendor for pictures, okay? Like I said, this one came from Tuesday morning, so I feel more comfortable purchasing from a retailer. This is what the inside of the cartridge packaging looks like, and it comes with a little booklet. And it comes with a little slip that gives you a code for free access to the image library. And this is the actual physical cartridge here. And this has the little connector that will go into, gives the information to your machine there. Now, as you can tell, there's my machine, and I'm sorry for the angle, but this is the only way that I can film this video. And I've got things above that because that's a big shelf, and as you can tell, things fall through and all that. But I'm going to insert my cartridge right here. Now, in there, that's just like any other video game console or anything like that. You just press that in, and your cartridge is now sending the information to your Cricut. So let's see what it says on the screen. Now I'm back to my screen. As you can see here, it says link cartridge, and click the button below to continue. And it also notes that cartridges can only be linked to one Cricut account. So again, this is why I stress that if you purchase any cartridges online, if they have been linked, you're going to get a message here that says that you cannot link this cartridge again, and you won't be able to use it in Design Space. So I'm just going to click link. And this is going to transfer the information from the cartridge into my account. I also have the option to view my other cartridges, and I can continue by linking other cartridges if I happen to have more. So what I can do here is, well, I'll just go ahead and click my cartridges, and then I can see here it's going to give me a menu of all the ones that I own. Okay, So basically now I'm free to move on to my canvas, and if I go here to canvas on the left hand side, I can start a new project, okay, or new. I can click new. I'm just going to save this here. Alright, so now I can start with a new project. Let's go ahead and take a look at this canvas. I have here menu options on the left hand side. There's a bar on the top, and then on the right hand side there's also a bar. Now that I have linked my cartridge to my account, I can start using it. I can find it a couple of different ways. One of them is to go to the left hand side panel here on my canvas and select the images button. And up here on the upper right hand side you're going to see where it says images, categories, and cartridges. I can select the word cartridges, and in the filter bar here, or in the search bar, I can enter the name of my cartridge. In this case it's called Holly and Ivy. So I can type in the word Holly, and I don't even need to finish it. Select the little button here, and any cartridge that has the name Holly in it is going to show up, or the word Holly. In this case, now I have Holly and Ivy linked to my account, and I can select to view all 50 images, and there they are. I can go ahead and start using my cartridge by selecting any one of these images. So if I want to start a project to get ready for Christmas, I can just pick out any one of these and get started. So let's see, which one do we want to play around with today? How about this little card here? I think it's really beautiful, and I can just select it as I just did. This little I button here also tells me the name of the cartridge, the number, okay, and that refers to that particular image on that cartridge. So I can select my image and click insert. That brings it to my canvas. On your canvas, you have the option of referring to either the 1/4 inch marks here for measurement, if you want, or on the upper left hand side here where the two zeros meet on your X and Y axes, you can click on that little box and eliminate the 1/4 inch lines, or you can click it again and have a clear canvas. So it's up to you. I like to work with a clear canvas a lot of times, but on the right hand side you're going to see all of the layers of your particular image. You're going to see by the default settings for those layers, so whether it be the scissors for cutting, the score tool for scoring, or the pen for writing. This particular image has all of them. The pen right now, the writing feature is actually hidden on this. So if you want to use that feature, you can actually unclick the little eye. So anytime you see the eyes all open, that means all of the images are going to be used or seen. What I can do now is I can size this card to a size that'll fit my mat. If you see here, the default size is 13.5. I don't want to make a card that large. The width on this card is 8.85 right now. I'm going to make it so that it's 7 inches wide and see where that takes me. And hopefully I can make a 5x7 card. So I move that just by dragging that little corner arrow. Because this is locked here, let me increase this so you can see it. Because I didn't unlock it, my aspect ratio will remain what it should be, and it's not going to alter the, it's not going to make it askew. So just keep that locked if you want the aspect ratio to maintain what it should be. So now that I made it 7 inches wide, it decreased this to 10.6, and that will fit on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I think that would be a great size for me to make a card. And if I want to leave it here, I can just click make it. And this is going to bring it over to my canvas. Now remember how I unclicked the little eye for the pen feature? This is where you're going to see that. So let me increase this so you can see what I'm talking about. So you see this? Because this was linked with the writing feature, on the left hand side you're going to see that it says score, draw, cut. It even tells you exactly what to expect. So now you know, before you start putting any papers into your machine that you're going to score, draw, and cut, well, go ahead and pick out whatever color marker you want to, or pen you want to use on your machine, and make sure you have your score tool and that you're paying attention, even though it's going to prompt you, as to when you're going to put in the score tool and when you're going to actually use your pen. Okay, here you get to see the different panels. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the next one. That's going to be the base panel, and then this is going to be the scroll that will end up being on top. So see how easy that is? You can also see exactly what size paper you need to cut, so you can have this all done before you even feed it into your machine. I love this feature about the Cricut because I can take a look at my canvas and say, okay, I need an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper for that. My next piece of paper is going to be also 8.5 by 11, and then my last piece of paper will be 6 by 7, and that'll be plenty. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my paper selected. Just wanted to show you how clean this cut and how easy it is to remove this now from my mat. Okay, now this is a new sticky mat, so what I like to do is to flip it over and then very gently start pulling away the paper, so that way my paper doesn't curl when I'm removing it, just because the mat is brand new. I'm just holding it down with one hand and very gently moving along. You could also use the blue mat, which is less sticky. I just prefer the green ones. And here's my shape. Let's see if I can show you where the written part of it is, but it's hard to see because it's black on green, but it did definitely work. There we go, the sun came out. Thank you. And you could tell, I mean, all I did was pick it up and do this, and it's already folded. Because it's scored, I can just fold it in half so easily and use my scoring tool just to reinforce the fold. But if you don't have a scoring tool, really just the pressure from your fingers would be fine. There's the base of my card. Now I'm going to proceed with the next layers. I'm going to go ahead and feed my next piece of paper into my machine. And before I do so, I'm going to remember to remove the pen that's still there before I continue, because the machine's going to prompt me to insert the stylus as it's going to be scoring this card as well. And I'll be back and show you what that looks like. Here's something that I want you guys to see. And I just wanted to point this out because I've owned Cricut machines for many years. It's going to be at least 10 years now. I wanted to point something out to you because this is going to hopefully ease some aggravation. I have no issues whatsoever with my Cricut machine. I think it's a wonderful machine. And having said that, there are some little kinks in the program as of the last update. As far as, now this is just my opinion and my experience. It doesn't mean this is happening to everyone. I have calibrated my machine and everything, although the calibration is supposed to be for print and cut. But this is something since the last update that I've noticed. I have to move my paper down 1/4 of an inch from that top border. If not, it'll cut, if you can see there, significantly lower, because 1/4 inch does add up. And look at what happens here. Here's the bottom of my paper. Now, had I placed my paper as the image shows, had I placed it to the top of my mat as the image shows, I would have ended up with this situation here, which is that it cuts off the bottom. Okay, so that's just a heads up. If you notice that happening, what I've done just now, you know, is that if my image is exactly the size of my 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I move my paper down 1/4 of an inch. I don't know, I've contacted Cricut in the past about this. I don't know what they're going to be doing about it, or if that's just something they're doing with the intention of helping out those who cut fabric. I don't know. But let's go on with the project. I'm going to show you guys something else. If in between your project or mid-project you're switching the kind of material that you're using, It's just as easy as moving the dial on your machine. In my case, I've cut the first 2 layers of my card out of cardstock, but I intend to cut this 3rd layer, which is the more decorative panel. If you see that, I'm going to be cutting that one out of Cricut Pearl paper. So I'm going to turn my dial on my machine to select precisely the type of material that I'm going to use. I moved the dial on my machine to custom. I now can go ahead and select from my favorites here since it's already listed, pearl paper, or I can browse materials as I showed before, and I can look for all the different materials, and I can select cardstock for intricate cuts, or I can pick from whichever material I'm using, okay? So I'm just going to X out of that since I have it listed as a favorite, and if you want to know how to do that, just click on the little star, and then that way it'll remember which material you want to use. You can also change the pressure here to more, default, or less. I'm going to leave it on default, and because it's set on pearl paper, I'm hoping that this worked because I am using Cricut Pearl paper. Now I don't need a stylus, it's just going to use the blade and I can just click cut. Here you can see how the Cricut cut the pearl paper. I'm going to show you what that looks like. To remove this piece, in order to make sure that I don't ruin this image, I'm just going to use my Cricut spatula and I'm going to gently start pulling it away from the canvas or the cutting mat. And then this is Cricut Pearl paper, which is surprisingly stronger than it looks, but I still want to make sure that I don't go through all that work and then end up tearing the paper, because this is a very delicate piece. The spatula is perfect for this because all I have to do is run it underneath the paper and it comes right off. Now we can assemble our card. I've got all 3 layers. My base layer will be the red. The next one will be the green that had drawn, the Cricut machine drew on, and then I can actually use that as my guide as to for the placement of this piece here. So let's start with that. I'm using art glitter glue, which is a great adhesive, and a little goes a long way, so you don't need a lot, and it just gives it a special touch. Now I'm going to follow, like I said before, the lines that the Cricut drew on this panel so that I know exactly where to place my image. And this is going to be a matter of being patient here. So there's my top panel, and I followed the lines so it fits perfectly. Now this is going to go on top of this panel here. Okay, and as you can tell, it's going to fit perfectly that way. But in order for this to not adhere askew, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down that bottom panel and apply my adhesive here. I'll just allow that to drop this way. And I always keep a baby wipe nearby, of course. And that is that. Okay, you want to adhere the back. But as you can tell, there's a little bit of a gap there on the top, and that's what you want to be mindful of. So that way your card closes and opens properly. Okay? Super easy, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'll probably add a sentiment here, of course, because it's a nice Christmas card, and you can definitely embellish it even further. I wanted to show you the end result. What I did was that I went back to the same cartridge and selected the image here with the sentiment that says believe, and I layered it just as it showed right on the image library, and I decided to top it off like that by adding it on dimensional adhesive. So used this type of dimensional adhesive here that you can purchase in any craft store, and that allowed it to have a little bit of, you know, dimension there, and that completes my card together with some little sequins that I decided to add for shine. And I'm gonna add one more here to the letter I, and I'm gonna use my art glitter glue because it's a nice strong adhesive. There we are. And that's it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this project. Please feel free to share, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and reach out to me. Let me know what you think.